Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Dychronic, your host here on this Destiny 2 video, and today we're taking a look at Nezarec, his location, his random rolls, and my recommendations for July 16, 2021. You can find him in his regular spot in the tower. Just head over to the top left section of the hangar. I don't know why my marker is here, but I am right here in the top left section of the hangar. You can find him right here at the precipice near the pit. This is a high overview in case this is all you cared about. First up, for the weapon today, we have the Sunshot. In my opinion, one of the more fun weapons in the game. Honestly, I don't have a lot of ornaments for this, but this is one of my favorite ornaments in the game. If you've never heard of it, it fires explosive rounds, which, as I've mentioned, really helps with damage fall-off, flinching the enemy, AoE hitting, and of course, it also does more damage, body shot and headshot. And more than that, it highlights the targets that take damage. I don't really notice this other part, but it's nice to have. Beyond that, there's also Sunblast, which is basically a better version of Dragonflight because it triggers on any kill on an enemy rather than just headshot. And on top of that, it also has 150 rounds per minute. It's the only 150 hand cannon in the game. It has a much larger magazine than it used to have when it first came out, and a much better reload speed than it used to have as well. Now, obviously, the range is a bit lacking on this, but combine that with the explosive payloads, and it does actually reach out fairly decently well. However, in PvP, it does have a bit of an issue with muzzle flare because, you know, the bright explosions in your hand, you're more likely to go for 4-shot body shot, which is still alright. And finally, the catalyst, I believe, just increases the size and the damage of the Sunblast, which is good synergy, but I don't think makes a massive difference. For the most part, this is one of the more fun weapons, not something I would really take into Master and above. Up next, for the Hunter exotic, we have Ophidius Spaith, one of my least respected exotics in the game, with probably the best roll on offer here today. All you do is you get an additional melee charge just for solar. And the reason why I dislike this so much is because things like Armamentarium, Claws of Ahamkara, they give you an additional charge for everything. It's universal, and this is just for solar. Even during solar plexus, where you had way more damage, I never liked this. And now that we have Aether's Embrace, we really don't need this at all. Bungie needs to take a look at these exotics that are actually just not viable. When it comes to the roll in this exotic, it's actually really good. First of all, 65 is above average on this particular exotic. You want strength, and on hunters, you also want mobility. The only thing really missing is recovery, but you can compensate that with some other things. So, an excellent roll for an exotic that truly needs to be looked at. Up next, for the Titan exotic, we have the Severance Enclosure. And honestly, not that far off from the rank I gave Ophidius Spaith. This thing is not that great either. However, they did update it to make it work with stasis. So any powered melee final blow unleashes an explosion around you, and finishers on targets, as well as more valuable targets, will cause bigger and more damaging explosions. Now, the biggest issue here is that melee is a bit dangerous, and there's a lot of other melee exotics for the Titan, like Syntheseps, Instrumental Skullfort, Doomfang, that do what they do a little bit better and give you more bonuses, and then, of course, you usually finish the enemy that's the last enemy. It's one of those things where I don't know when this would make a big difference. When am I going to use this and it's going to be the thing that saves us? As far as the roll goes, 59 is pretty low. However, the distribution is actually pretty nice. Mobility, recovery, discipline, intellect kind of works, somewhat synergy, and pretty good stats, but the total stats is pretty low. You could probably do a lot better. And finally, for the Warlock exotic, probably the best, actually the literal best exotic available here today, we have the Ophidian Aspects, especially after the quick draw nerf. Being able to weapon ready quickly and reload quickly and have even more melee range is something that's really nice to have no matter what you're doing, because this is universal and an excellent PvP exotic. Can be used in PvE if you really need that stuff, but this is one of those like really great PvP things, which apparently has an ornament. If you want to make it look like ropes, yeah, that's what I want to do with my life. As far as the roll goes, you'd like to see strength and recovery and low mobility, and that's kind of what it has. It also has a bit of intellect, which is never bad to see. I would say it's a decent roll. However, the total stats could be a bit better. However, the total stats are not everything. If it has a great distribution, this may fit you better. Outside of that, make sure you're picking up your exotic cipher quest, which I believe I already have. Yep, I have the exotic cipher quest. It gives you an exotic cipher for doing strikes and crucible and gambit, and it's basically just free stuff. You can use it on the exotic archive to get yourself an Ariana's Vow or a Bastion or anything that is available there, or you can spend it on these exotic engrams, which, again, if you don't know, this exotic engram is guaranteed you give an exotic that you've never received before. I don't need another one, bro. Or it's one with a very high stat roll if you have all the exotics. This is a great roll. Look, don't get me wrong, I appreciate it, but this is a 69 base roll with high recovery, intellect, and mobility, and that like this one blows my mind. This one is like, okay. And that's it. That's gonna be pretty much the end of it. Of course, come check out my live streams that I have right after these videos, as well as all the times on screen. Twitch.tv/Dychronic, link in the description down below. Oftentimes doing open lobbies for raids, for nightfalls, grandmasters, the seasonal stuff. Come check it out. And of course, a big thank you to my patrons on Patreon. Specifically, a big thank you to Medi Buju, Mom Dad, Dr. Strange, Joe Smith, my Nacy Bachmas, Raymond Showman, Unipanther, Cole Sherman, Casey Reagan for their support. I slipped up a little bit in there, but I got it. And that's the end of it. Hope you guys did enjoy. My name is Dychronic, and I will see you guys on the next one.